Here is a rule as old as money itself. No great fortune lasts. The bigger it grows, the harder it falls. This is Fortune and Ruin, where we follow the money, how it was built, how it was flaunted, and how, almost every single time, it vanishes completely. Because building a fortune is impressive, but watching one burn to the ground over 3 generations of champagne and spectacularly bad decisions, that is entertainment. So, if we are going to watch a great fortune go up in flames, we may as well start with the biggest bonfire in American history. A family whose name, for 50 years, simply meant money. The Vanderbilts. When this man died in 1877, he left behind more money than the United States Treasury was holding. 96 years later, 120 of his descendants held a family reunion. Not one of them was a millionaire. This is the story of how you lose the greatest fortune in American history, not to a crash or a war, but by spending it. He was born in 1794 on Staten Island, into a family with no money and no name. He hated school and left it at 11 to work the boats in the harbor. At 16, he borrowed $100 from his mother and bought a small barge, ferrying passengers and cargo across New York Harbor. He worked harder and charged less than anyone alive. By his 30s, he had a fleet. He would drive a rival off the water by charging almost nothing, and once they were gone, charge whatever he pleased. It made him hated. It made him rich. He moved from sail to steam and went to war on his rivals, slashing fares until they paid him just to go away. They started calling him the Commodore. He was ruthless in a way that was almost admired. When 2 partners tried to cut him out of a deal, he sent them a single letter. "Gentlemen, you have undertaken to cheat me. I won't sue you. The law is too slow. I will ruin you." And he did. Then, in his 60s, an age when most men retire, he walked away from the ships. He bet everything on a newer, faster technology, the railroads. He bought the lines running in and out of New York and fused them into one great system, the New York Central. He tore down the competition and built a cathedral to his own power in the middle of Manhattan, the first Grand Central Depot. One man now controlled the arteries of the American economy. Governments bargained with him, rivals feared him, and he answered to no one at all. By the end of the Civil War, Cornelius Vanderbilt was the wealthiest man in America. No one was close. But the richest man in America kept a strange secret. In private, he ran his affairs on the advice of the dead. A month after his wife died, the 74-year-old took up with 2 spiritualist sisters, Victoria Woodhull and Tenny Claflin, who held séances to summon his dead mother and stock tips from beyond the grave. He carried on an affair with Tenny, less than half his age. He called her his little sparrow. She called him the old goat. He set the sisters up as the first female stockbrokers on Wall Street, and when rivals asked the secret of his fortune, the Commodore told them plainly, "Do as I do, consult the spirits." When she dared to preach a woman's right to her own body, one famous cartoon drew her as the devil herself. They called her Mrs. Satan. He died in January 1877, an old man in a mansion, surrounded by a fortune no American had ever assembled. When the Commodore finally died, the whole nation stopped to read of it. His funeral filled the front pages. $105 million, more than the United States Treasury held. The question now was not how to make it, but who could keep it. The Commodore believed something rare among rich men. He was certain that inherited money destroyed the people who received it. So he did something brutal. Of his 100 million, he left almost all of it, 95 million, to a single son, William Henry, the one child he believed was strong enough to guard it. The rest of the family was nearly cut out. They sued. The scandal filled the newspapers for 2 years, and still the money held. In court, his own children argued the old man had been insane, governed by clairvoyants and mediums. Witnesses swore that a message from a spirit had told him to leave everything to a single son. The greatest inheritance in America hung on the testimony of ghosts. Because William Henry did the one thing no one expected. He didn't waste the fortune, he doubled it. In 8 years, he grew 95 million into nearly $200 million, a larger fortune than his father ever held. He is also the man who, when a reporter asked if he ran his railroads for the public good, gave the sentence that defined an age: the public be damned. Then, in 1885, William Henry died and made the opposite choice from his father. He split his 200 million evenly among all his children. It was a father's kindness, and it was the beginning of the end, because the moment the fortune was divided, it stopped growing and started to be spent. The third generation of Vanderbilts had no railroads to build. They had something else to conquer: society. Alva herself had just done the unthinkable, divorcing her husband for adultery and winning a settlement worth $10 million. In the same year she freed herself from a marriage she hated, she forced her daughter into one. Old New York was ruled by one woman, Mrs. Astor, and her list of the only 400 people who mattered. The Vanderbilts, with all their millions, were not on it. They were new money. So in 1883, Alva Vanderbilt threw a costume ball so staggering, costing millions in today's money for a single night, that Mrs. Astor was forced to call on her at last. On the night of the ball, Alva appeared before New York as a costumed princess, and the oldest families in the city finally bowed. On a single stretch of Fifth Avenue, the family raised a row of palaces so grand the street was named for them. There was William Henry's Triple Palace, 3 mansions under one roof. There was the Petit Chateau, a French fantasy dropped onto a Manhattan corner. And in Newport, Cornelius II built the Breakers, 70 rooms of marble and gold, lived in a few weeks a year. There was Marble House, built for Alva, with 500,000 cubic feet of marble. And in the mountains of North Carolina, George Vanderbilt built Biltmore, 250 rooms, still the largest private house in America to this day. But the family's grandest ambition was a title. Alva forced her daughter Consuelo to marry the Duke of Marlborough, trading a dowry of $2.5 million for a coronet. Consuelo was secretly in love with another man, so Alva locked her in her room and swore she would shoot the man dead if the wedding did not go ahead. Consuelo gave in. The wedding was front-page news around the world. An American fortune married into the oldest nobility in England. At the summit, a quiet problem was waiting. The Vanderbilts had become the greatest spenders on earth, but not one of them was growing the money anymore. The railroads that built the family were being regulated, taxed, and overtaken. Piece by piece, the Vanderbilts sold down the New York Central, the very engine of their fortune. And every generation repeated the same mistake, dividing the money among more and more heirs, each spending, none building. A great fortune, cut into ever smaller pieces until the pieces were nothing at all. The Petit Chateau fell in 1926. Cornelius II's mansion, the largest private home in the city, was razed for a department store. The last of the Triple Palace came down in 1947. The Breakers, that 70-room monument, was leased to a preservation society for $1 a year. The family that built the grandest houses in America could no longer afford to live in them. In 1973, 120 descendants of Cornelius Vanderbilt gathered for a reunion. According to the family's own historian, when they looked around the room, not one of them was a millionaire. Which brings us back to the old man who started it all. He believed that handing wealth to people who hadn't earned it would ruin them. His family spent the next 3 generations proving him right. Shirtsleeves to shirtsleeves. The first builds it, the second enjoys it, the third loses it. In 1934, the world followed a Vanderbilt custody trial over a 10-year-old heiress the papers called the poor little rich girl. Her name was Gloria Vanderbilt. What remained of the fortune was already more famous than it was large. The Vanderbilts built the grandest houses this country has ever seen, and in the end, they could not hold on to a single one. $100 million, 10 palaces, one of the most famous names in the world, gone. This has been fortune and ruin. If you want more true stories of the fortunes that history built and destroyed, subscribe. There is a new one every week, and the next great fortune is already waiting to fall.